providing resources and comfort to caregivers. This is Caregiver Crossing.
Hey there, thanks for being here. This is indeed Caregiver Crossing. I hope that you're doing well today. If this is your first time joining us, Caregiver Crossing is a show brought to you by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We were created for family caregivers, those that one day will be family caregivers, and all of the folks that love them. My name is Candace Hattabaugh, and I'm joined by the very lovely one and only
Terry Staci is my name.
Terry Staci.
Ask me again, I'll tell you the same.
What is that from?
It was from when I was a kid, and my grandpa would, I think I learned that from Grandpa.
Was it Puddingtane?
Puddingtane,
yeah.
What's your name? What's your name, Puddingtane? Ask me again, I'll tell you the same.
There
or something,
is.
right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Anyway, haha, so fun.
Thanks, Grandpa. How are you, Terry?
Oh my goodness, I'm good. How about you?
I'm good.
You didn't talk about Grandpa. Is there anything better than Grandma and Grandpa?
No, I can't say that there is.
I mean, just the best.
What's your most fond memory of Grandma and Grandpa?
Oh, Grandma and Grandpa. I spent many summers with Grandma and Grandpa as Mom and Dad worked, and we would off from school. And so we'd head off to Grandma and Grandpa's house. And it was so many memories because all the cousins came. So every day was like camp. And Grandma was just so great. Grandpa was working, and Grandma wanted to make sure that we all could figure out what we were good at. Aww. So every day, she would have a plan. Today we get in the car and we're going to go putt-putt, see if you like golf. Next day we're going to go over here. We're taking swimming lessons. Next day we're going to go horseback riding. We're going bowling. We're going, just tennis. Remembering tennis lessons. I mean, she had us in everything to try to figure out what we were good at. And for the most part, you dreaded it. You were like, oh no, here comes summer camp. But she was great. And she did help us figure it all out, even though we look back on it. And, at the time, maybe we weren't so great, but loved it. Grandmas and grandpas. And for you?
Well, did your grandma and grandpa live local?
They did.
Good.
They did. Yeah, they were real close. Are your grandmas and grandpas?
Mine were in Georgia, and it was kind of like you. We would go down for summer and winter breaks each year. And on winter breaks, we would go look at all the Christmas lights and drive around in the evening and do that. In the summertime, we were really kind of left to our own devices.
Just having fun.
We would run up and down the street. But, we were in a small town then, so I had a lot of cousins.
Yeah.
So we would just kind of all play around. We would go to the pool or there's a small park across the street from my grandparents' house. So we would go over there and swing or play basketball or
it's
play
great.
in the mud, just random little kid
Cherish
stuff.
them. If you still have them, they're gone too soon. And talk to them. Ask them stuff. And I believe there's actually been studies that say, when that younger generation hangs out with their grandmas and grandpas, that older generation, that grandmas and grandpas live a little bit longer.
I can see that. Because
they've got such joy in their life when the grandkids come, and you can learn so much from them. I mean, I'm telling you, I would give anything to have grandma and grandpa back. So treasure them for sure.
Later in the show, we'll be checking in with Tina. So if you don't know Tina, if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet, you'll definitely want to stick around and hear her story. And if you have been a listener for a while and know her, you know that she's wonderful. And many people have been asking about her and wanting updates. So you will get to hear straight from her about her minor brain surgery, as she likes to call it.
Yeah.
She's been out since the end of November, I think is the last time we saw her. Excuse me. And she'll be back this coming week, actually. So I'm excited.
Really?
Yeah. She'll be back in the office.
That's great.
So I'm so excited. So
she'll be back when?
This coming week.
Okay, great.
Yep. So we'll talk to her next segment, actually.
Yeah. For those of you that are new to us, and we have lots of you listening all across our great state of Indiana, but now we're also in Illinois. And so we welcome you and thank you I think this show is so needed for a million different reasons.
Yep.
So we're glad that you're on board with us. You're on the Caregiver Crossing train. And we love hearing from you. If there's questions you have, I got a question earlier and we've been trying to reach out to him. And it's a question about, as many of you are experiencing, you're either taking a loved one to perhaps a nursing facility, and you've got questions. You've got a million questions. We should do this more. We don't often talk about this of late, but that is finding that great place for the next step for a mom or dad or a grandparent. And what should you be looking for?
Yeah.
And this gentleman is a listener, and he reached out to me and he said, get ready to do that with an aunt. And what kind of activities should he be looking at when you comes to, there's activities for one. Yes, because you want them active.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. You
want
want
to
them,
keep them active.
and you want them to be encouraged to be moving about, because I've seen some nursing facilities that'll just leave them a mom or a dad or a grandma alone, and they lay in bed all day.
Yeah.
You need a real good encouragement staff,
I would say, Dave Holder is going to be joining us here in the next couple of weeks. So if there are any nursing home or long-term care or just senior care questions that anyone has for him, you can call 317-254-0828 and ask to speak to me, Candace, and I will make note of that question to make sure that we ask Dave and get those answered for you. Or you can email me, Candace, CANDACE, @joycehouse.org. But I would recommend popping in and touring those facilities for sure before you make any placements of your loved one, and go in with a list of questions to make sure you're asking the questions. And what does it smell like? What's it look like? Do you see people sitting in the hallway or roaming the hallway? And how are the aides and the nurses interacting with other residents? But if you have a loved one that is interested in golfing or chair aerobics or swimming or something like that, make sure that you're asking those questions to see if those activities are incorporated into the care plan or an option for your loved one. And if not, there are transportation services. There's always the YMCA. Some of our guests here that come to Joyce House are living in a long-term care facility. So there are options that your loved one can still get out of those four walls day to day, so that they're getting interaction with other people in the community and not just, sitting there as some people do.
If you ever look at some complaints about some of the nursing facilities, sometimes it comes right down to food. And I'm here to tell you, some of these places have really hired, awesome chefs.
Yes.
And the food isn't what it used to be.
They've definitely stepped up the
Had
game.
to, because people wouldn't eat it. Mm-hmm. Grandma and Grandpa didn't want your food. And it was bland, and it was now some of these facilities. I'm just saying this for if my husband's listening and he's thinking at some point he's going to move me in someplace. I want you to check the food first. That's first for me. First and foremost, what's on the menu? Have we got a 5-star chef? And because a lot of them do.
They do. They really do.
I've always thought it would be so fun to have a retirement community food festival.
You like festivals, don't
with
you?
Competition amongst the chefs.
They have those.
Do they?
Yeah, they have those.
Brilliant.
Yes, they do. I cannot think of what it's called.
Brilliant.
But once a year, community chefs come together and
I love
have
this idea.
like cook-offs.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
perfect. We've got to take a break.
Do we?
But before we do, you are listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you as a service of Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. With locations in Broad Ripple and near the University of Indianapolis campus, Joyce House provides exceptional day services for individuals living with a life-altering diagnosis and compassionate support for family caregivers throughout the community. You can reach us today by calling 317-254-0828 or by visiting joycehouse.org. That web address again is joycehouse.org. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after this.
hello, friends. Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. My name is Terry Staci. In studio with us is Candace Hattabaugh.
Hey, y'all.
And oh my gosh, this is so exciting! We've got on the line right now our third Mouseketeer. She's really the Annette Funicello of the group, and we've missed her. We've missed her with all of our hearts, and I know you have too. So you've been asking about her, and here she is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tina McIntosh.
Hello. Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, my
so
stars. We've missed you so much.
Same. I have been off of work for a long time on medical leave. So yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
You've been out since the end of November, and it
Since
feels
right
like
before Thanksgiving.
it feels like it's been like 6 months, really, Tina. In all
And it was interesting. So, it went fast over the holidays because nobody really cares. Everybody's doing their own thing over holidays. The last few weeks here in January, I couldn't wait for Thursday, February 1st to get here because the last few weeks in January like dragged on, and that to me felt like forever. And so I've been out on medical leave. Terry's been spreading lies and rumors. Terry, go ahead. What have you been telling people has been happening?
What's the recent one?
She had Elon Musk plant a chip in her brain. She was the first. It's just been revealed. You'll see in the news that this indeed, it was Tina that made the ultimate sacrifice and let Elon have some surgery on her brain to implant a chip. Now she has Google and search right in her brain, and all she has to do is think of it, and it pops right there in her brain. Like she can say, "Tell me about what's the most popular color of a cat," and it pops right there in her brain, black.
Just instantly like that.
But that's really not the truth, everybody. Really, tell them what happened.
So, there are two things we have to deal with here. The Elon Musk thing, though, is true, right?
It's true.
He did that with somebody?
Yeah.
It was not me, but he did it with somebody. That's a whole different therapy session.
Yeah.
I did, however, have a minor brain surgery back at the beginning of December. No chip was installed, but I had a Chiari malformation. I had to have a decompression surgery. And so they took out a little piece of my skull and they took out a piece of my top vertebrae and they used the pericranium, don't ask if you don't want to know, of my brain to create its own kind of balloon in there to keep this space open so that my cerebral spinal fluid can flow freely now.
Wow.
I know.
I'm trying to picture it, Tina. Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
I'm
it's so
completely
interesting.
fascinated that they're able to do that. And you were having migraines, you were having all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Everybody keeps saying, like, how do you feel now? And I feel fantastic. I mean, I didn't realize how bad I felt. And that, how do you know when it's slow? It's kind of like gaining weight. You don't really know until you see a picture and then you're like, oh.
Right. And it becomes part of your life. It just becomes a part of your life. You live with pain.
So I had considerable migraines and vertigo spells, which, I've said on air before. I will say it again. I'm so sorry for the time in my life when I thought vertigo meant you were just dizzy. It is not that. It is so much more. And tinnitus. And I didn't realize how constant and loud the tinnitus was inside of my head until I didn't have it. And then I would have these things called Chiari rushes. So here's something funny. I was with Georgia, my 15-year-old, the other day, and I had a little sneezing fit. And I sneezed like 4 times. And I looked at her and I was like, I sneezed. And she said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I just sneezed and it was fine. Like before, a sneeze would throw me into a Chiari rush and it felt devastating inside of my head. Like,
what is that?
And a Chiari rush it's a longer thing than anybody really cares to know, but basically the spinal fluid, my brain was too big for my skull. And there was, at the base of the brain, you have an opening that leads to the spinal cord and the fluid goes up and down through there. Well, my brain had fallen into that section because my little opening at the base of my skull was bigger than it should have been. And so it kind of got in there, got stuck, got clogged. It wouldn't let the fluid flow freely. And then over time, the little hole in my skull got bigger and more of the brain was kind of falling down in there.
Wow.
Sorry for anybody who's eating breakfast. So they had to clear the space to make that to flow, better. But you can imagine anytime I would bear down, laugh really hard, cough, sneeze, it kind of got pinched a little bit. And then when it got pinched, there's this almost undescribable feeling that would happen in my head where I would, for just a moment, I don't even know how to say it. It hurt. It made me, spin. It made me feel like I was going to pass out. And it happened all the time. But I don't feel like that anymore. I feel great.
So did you wake up instantly feeling less pressure? Or did you, with a little bit of time that it took to feel normal again?
It took a little bit of time. So here's a crazy thing. I went in for the surgery. Now, let's just acknowledge the fact that in the world of brain surgery, I'm very blessed and it was minor. So yes, it was brain surgery and it was a minor brain surgery, meaning they didn't operate on my brain. They could see my brain, but they didn't mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I woke up it was only a couple hours long. I woke up in ICU, and the next day they sent me home.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And what does, was your, I think we saw it, didn't we? You had a zipper in the back of your neck.
I had 22 staples in the back of my head.
Yeah. It was looked like a zipper.
They do call it a zipper scar. And my best friend said, does that mean I can call you Zippy now? And I said, no. As a matter of fact, I don't ever want to hear you say that word again.
I can probably guess who that was.
Yeah, you can. But the scar's really not that bad. And, you know, for anybody who knows me, you know that I wear my hair really short, kind of in a mommy mohawk, as it's called at my house. But it doesn't bother me. I mean, I like scars. I've always said
Me
that to tell a
too.
story.
Me too. We've always wanted to have Scarfest. Remember? I think wasn't you and didn't we want to have Scarfest where people came and showed off their scars?
What?
And we wanted to have a tattoo fest too.
Wanted one of those also.
Well, I'm down for that.
We should still do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are. Okay, so let me ask you, both of you, what's the best scar you have?
Oh man.
I don't have many.
I have, mine are all from falling. On a bike and gravel, you still see the gravel, slicing my finger with nothing big. I had a cat bite me right through the lip, right underneath my nose. Went straight through and we had to pull her out. It's still there. Lots of chickenpox scars. I don't really have anything. Yeah, right. But I don't have anything like major surgery scars or anything like that.
Yeah,
Do you, Candace?
I don't have any surgery scars. The biggest one I have is on my left knee, and it's from a scooter accident, like a push scooter accident back in the day. My cousin and I were coasting down a hill, and a motorcycle was coming kind of catty to us, and we pushed the brakes and flipped over the handlebars. And so that's probably my most memorable and really only scar, I think.
Still there?
It's still there. It's faded a lot, but it's still there.
Yeah.
I just like scars. I mean, I think they tell a big part of the story, and we're still here to show them off. And so many people try to hide them. I will say that when I had the staples in the back of my head, I was acutely aware of those. Like if I'd be out in public and thinking, oh, that poor person behind me, like in a line, or I went to a Christmas Eve play and I thought, oh, that poor person behind me is probably like, does she have staples in the back of her head? But
Steve, everybody's just curious, not necessarily, like more than anything, just curiosity. Wonder what happened.
Has anyone asked you?
No, no one has. And my motto is if you don't like it, don't look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
mind your business.
That's it. That's really it. But I'm just always curious about them. Anytime I see staples or a scar or a cast or anything, and I am the person that says, "Hey, what's going on there?"
Yeah.
What'd you break?
You almost out of that thing?
I really am. I got to shut up sometimes because it's not everybody wants to talk about them. And I tried to really honestly get the Scarfest going. And people at where I worked said, no, there are people that have, their heartbreaking stories. They don't want to tell their stories of their scars. And I said, well, then it's not for them. This is for everybody that wants to, like Tina. This is a Tina celebration. She's got a lot of cool scars.
Yeah, but I'd have to go topless, and that's a whole festival.
That's different.
Yeah, maybe
breast cancer people, breast cancer. But that's a whole different festival, Candace.
Yeah,
hey, is one we may have to put on the books. I'm just saying.
Oh boy,
Tina,
well,
go ahead.
I know you have to go.
Yeah.
I miss you ladies terribly and love you so much. And I can't wait to be back in the studio with you soon.
People prayed. A lot of prayers are still continued for you.
Yeah.
And really, people just, you are loved and thought of every day.
I felt them, and I love y'all back. And I'll see you soon.
All
okay,
right.
see you soon.
Bye.
All right.
See ya. Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. Terry Staci along with Candace Hattabaugh. And joining us now in studio is registered dietitian and owner of the Wellness Philosophy, Staci Smalls is here. Staci Small, I should say. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. You brought with you a friend today, too.
I sure did. My sweet girl, my sweet daughter.
She looks like, hey, well, maybe we'll talk to her in a little bit if she'll allow us to talk to her.
She would.
You just hang on. Her eyes got real big when we said, let's talk to her. We're not going to talk to you. Don't worry. How are you?
I'm great.
Really good?
Life's good, yes.
Good. Happy New Year. I can still say that,
You
right?
sure can. It's January.
I want everybody to know about the wellness philosophy. Tell us about what you do.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm a registered dietitian, and I started wellness philosophy years ago as a way to help individuals really kind of deep dive into their health problems to see if, looking into nutrition and gut health and nutrient deficiencies could help their health outcomes. And it seems in most cases it can. So
Can you detect when somebody is not well?
Oh, sure.
On the exterior.
Oh,
when they
sure.
come in, can you see it in eyes? Can you see it in skin? Can you see it in so many ways? Hair, everything.
So many different ways. Yeah. I mean, way back to when I can think back to Ball State, 30 years ago. That's dating me. But, we learned how to do nutrition-focused physical exams. So, yeah, you can take a look at skin. You can take a look at fingernails. There's so much, like you said, hair that can really give you an indication of how well is this person doing.
Somebody once told me that you can look at a tongue, and the tongue will tell you everything.
Yes, it sure can. It's the top part of the digestive tract, so it can absolutely tell you a lot.
Staci, we want to talk about brain health. Candace in particular said, let's focus a little bit on brain health, and we're going to do that. And maybe if you can just tell us about some specific nutrients in supporting optimal brain health.
Yeah, so anytime you're talking about brain health, the first place you have to start is the omega-3 fish oils. And I know you've probably seen the commercials for them. They're out there a lot. And I like supplements. We need to look at safe, well-tested supplements. But let's talk about how to get it through diet. So one of the best ways is, eat salmon twice a week. We do have to think a little bit about the high mercury fish when we're talking about eating fish. So, just do a quick Google search on that and try not to eat those just because we don't want to take in a lot of those metals. But salmon's a really, really great choice for omega-3 fatty acids. So
Tuna?
So tuna is one of those higher mercury.
That's what made me think of it.
Yep.
What about tuna?
Well, I can tell you my doctor, who I adore him, he told me, let's not eat tuna. It's pretty high in mercury. But I know there are some doctors who will say, maybe once a week. But with pregnant women, we tell them, hey, let's be careful with tuna because of the mercury content. We don't want getting to the fetus. So I think we, eat it in moderation. I wouldn't eat it every day.
There's been so much talk about omega fish oil and taking it in supplement form. You hear some that will say, and I think this is what happened with the internet, because now we can get so confused so easily. And, for a while there, I was hearing the supplements are no good. Don't just eat the food. You don't need to have the supplements. Do you have any thoughts or?
I do have thoughts. So I can tell you that myself, I am a dietitian. Obviously, I think I eat a really great diet. But when my doctor looked at my labs for omega-3s, I was deficient. And I try to eat fish. Sometimes it's once a week. Every once in a while, it's twice a week. I try to walk the walk. But even those of us who are trying really hard still can have blood levels that are deficient. So in that case, I think there's some benefit to taking a good high quality fish oil. But like I mentioned, you've got to really look at that. Is that product being cleaned up and then tested to make sure it doesn't have the mercury and the pesticides and the PCBs and all that stuff that they often find in fish oils that are not cleaned up.
Cognitive brain health, tell us a little bit about, if it's declining, can you switch that around, or with good foods and nutrition, can you stop that maybe a little bit, slow it down or something?
Yeah, there are studies that show that you can slow down that cognitive decline. And definitely, work on preventing it. So there are some really great studies that have looked at, diet changes. So looking at taking out the processed sugars and the processed grains, because what that does is that decreases the amount of excess glucose that's in the brain.
Yeah.
And studies have linked that excess glucose to cognitive decline. So, the studies have found that if we eat more of when I say plant-based, I don't mean you have to cut all meat out. But, at the bottom of that food guide pyramid we all used to know and love, instead of it being all grains, hot dog buns, hamburger buns, pizza. No. That's not what we're talking about. Let's make that bottom, really healthy things like our vegetables. Make most of your plate vegetables, have some meats, have some fats, have some fruit and berries, and really focus on those plants.
This just popped in my brain. Everybody's taking collagen now. And I'm not sure everybody knows why you're taking it.
Right.
You just have been, in front of you, whether you're scrolling on your social media, collagen pops up. You've got Jennifer Aniston that is saying, gotta have collagen. What is this? Because I really truly believe not everybody knows what it's for.
Right. And I'll tell you what it's for, and then I'll tell you a precaution with it. So people generally, I find, take collagen because they're aging, and we need collagen to help our skin be soft and supple and elastic. Our soft tissues, our tendons, our ligaments. We want all those to be, the rubber band that we had when we were 18, right? We want them to move like that, and they stop doing that quite so much as we age. So I think that's why a lot of people take them. I will say that I have seen some interesting studies and anecdotally heard from clients that a lot of individuals who start collagen supplements start to notice that their anxiety gets worse. And I've looked at some studies as to why that might be. And there's some really neat studies looking at amino acids that are in the collagen supplements. And there's some studies looking at tryptophan depletion. And what that means is tryptophan's an amino acid. It helps us make serotonin. And so I took a look after I looked at some of those studies, and several of the collagen supplements out there have a lot of amino acids, but they don't include tryptophan. Well, those studies that I looked at said when you have tryptophan depletion, you're giving other amino acids and leaving out the tryptophan. That can cause anxiety and some depression and things. So interesting point, maybe talk to your doctor about that before you start. And if you do notice anxiety gets worse, maybe cut back or
maybe
cut it
that's
out.
what might be causing it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Candace just came back and she had to leave the room for just a moment. We were talking about brain health, and then it popped in my brain about collagen, asking her about, we're all taking it, but we don't necessarily know why, but we need to have it. It's told to us we need to have it. And she just did a great explanation on just being careful with collagen. Just maybe talk to your doctor before you jump on the collagen bandwagon.
And is it safe to say to make sure you're talking to your doctor before you start
any supplement?
Yeah,
because there are some herbs that interact with medications. So always run it by your pharmacist, your doctor, just to make sure.
Do you take supplements? Do you take herbs or supplements of any sort?
I do. Yeah, I take fish oils because mine was low when my doctor checked. I find so many of us are vitamin C deficient, so I always take my vitamin C. And that's just when people bring their labs in that they have.
And vitamin C, if we take a multivitamin, is enough vitamin C going to be in that multivitamin, or do you take an additional, or what maybe amount should we be taking?
So all of the multivitamins vary based on what is in them. Some multivitamins have 60 milligrams, some have 260 milligrams. It just depends. The one that I take has 180 milligrams. That seems to be a good spot for me. But I will tell you, in some of the testing that I've run with clients to look at vitamin C levels, the people that I find that have those optimal levels, they're usually taking around 500 milligrams a day. But again, run that by your doctor to make sure that's an okay amount for you to take.
Okay. All right. This is Staci Small. She's going to stick around with us too. Registered dietitian and owner of The Wellness Philosophy. A lot more questions still to come. You're listening to Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for joining us.
Caregiver Crossing is a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. We're brought to you each week by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates, and we're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. Visit us at caregivercrossingradio.org to connect, hear past episodes, learn more about caregiver support services in the community, and much more. That website again is caregivercrossingradio.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after this. Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. My name is Candace Hattabaugh, and I'm joined in studio by Terry Staci and Staci Small. Terry Staci and Staci Small. I just realized that.
I know it.
Staci, thank you so much for sticking around with us. Before the break, I think you guys talked about all kinds of things. We left off at collagen and making sure that you're talking with your doctor really before starting any supplement. But before we move on, I want to ask you, when working with clients that are experiencing cognitive issues and concerns, how can your approach be tailored to their specific needs, considering factors like age and existing health conditions and personal preferences?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're thinking anything to do with the brain and cognitive decline, the first place I'm going to start is working with them on diet changes. And so, the typical American diet can be a little high in processed grains and processed sugars and things of that nature. So I'm going to start working with that individual and trying to get more plants into their body. And like you said, based on personal preference, sometimes that can be challenging, but there's so many options for, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. We can always find things that people like. Some people enjoy cooked vegetables. Some people like, the crunchy vegetables. So we just work within those parameters. But the key when we're thinking about cognitive decline, brain health is really to start working in some of those foods that we hear about being anti-inflammatory. So, walnuts, for example, those have been shown to be high in one of those omega-3s that we talked about. We talk about omega-3s with fish, but walnuts have them too, and it's a slightly different version or variety. It's the alpha-linolenic version of omega-3, but also very, very valuable. And there's been some studies done looking even at berries. So Harvard did a study a while back looking at women, and all they had them do was eat 2 or more servings of berries in a week, just added 2 servings or more a week, and their cognitive decline decreased or slowed down by about 2.5 years. So, think about that.
Any berry.
Yeah. So if that was 2 a week, what if we added a serving of berries a day? What could we accomplish,
Oh my gosh, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
All right, Staci Small with us, owner of Wellness Philosophy. Let's talk about inflammation. Yeah. And that is always seems to be a topic. It's in the news every once in a while, but regularly. And what does it mean? And what does it mean to our bodies when we have inflammation? And should we just leave our bodies alone that it will fight it itself?
So the science tells us that pretty much every illness starts with inflammation. And so if we have inflammation in the body, that's sometimes, our body's natural response, right? You fall down, it's going to get inflamed. But when we have chronic inflammation or inflammation in the brain, that can obviously be a pretty big deal. So, that's where some of those diet approaches we talked about really come into play. I would say most of your cardiologists and, across the board doctors would say, let's work on inflammation because it's not a good thing. So start with diet, start really working in all those colors of the rainbow. When you eat, your plate should not be bland and all one color. You should have lots of different colors on that plate. So, switch up what you eat too. This week you say have salads for lunch and they have romaine lettuce and red onion and, radishes on it. And then next week, you add in other things, avocado and tomatoes, and just, really strive to eat different fruits and veggies and strive to eat lots of different colors.
You're a mom. And how did you get, because that seems to be a mom topic. I can't get my kid to eat vegetables and fruits and doesn't like green.
Yep.
How did you do it?
Well, I went into motherhood with the knowledge that the studies showed it takes about 16 times for a child seeing a new food before they might actually try it. If you get it sooner, you're lucky.
16 times?
Yep. Some studies have found it's really difficult to get a kid to eat something green. So some kids are easier and they'll just do it right away. But just being patient and when you're introducing foods to kiddos, obviously don't introduce ice cream before you introduce broccoli.
Yeah.
I've seen so many parents doing that. I'm like, oh, you're going to wreck their palate. They're not going to eat that broccoli now. So just, really work on introducing those things first, those not so exciting foods first. And then a little bit later, maybe they have some of the fun stuff.
Some have said, I let my kid grow it and then cook it and then it seems to like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Work for
I
it.
don't know. I'm not a parent. Turmeric. What do you think?
Oh, I love it. When we're talking anti-inflammatory, especially supplements. Oh, yeah. I take a curcumin supplement. Turmeric root. Curcumin is one component of that. Or some people call it curcumin. But
okay.
Can we get too much of it?
So I've seen some studies in some of the lectures I attend, and there was one physician who was just fantastically involved in all of that research, and she recommended no more than 500 milligrams 3 times a day. If you're in a really acute phase of say plantar fasciitis or, something really bad where you want to take an anti-inflammatory that's natural. But again, run that by your doctor and your pharmacist who know your unique health history and what medications you're taking and all that.
Okay. I take it. Do you take it?
Not like that. I have a tea that has turmeric in it.
There you go.
Yeah, but I don't.
But you're getting it.
I don't drink it often enough to probably get the benefits of it.
Can food work together to create? Well, I know what's the question, I guess. Are there better combinations of food that digests better because they're together?
That's a really great question. Yeah. So this is especially helpful for diabetics or anyone who has hypoglycemia. I always recommend that if you're going to eat carbohydrates, make sure you're eating some healthy fats and proteins with it, because if you just sit down and eat, a piece of bread or something, well, that's going to get digested fairly quick, raise your blood sugars fairly quickly. You're going to feel hungry again in 30 minutes. And so if you to your point, combine it with maybe almond butter or, something of that nature where you're getting some healthy fats and proteins. That's going to keep your blood sugar more regulated, which feels better for all of us. And then obviously you'll have that, full feeling a little longer, so you don't have to go back and eat again in an hour. So yeah, great question.
I always love having Staci with us.
Thank you.
I do too.
I love being here.
I do too. Is it over? It is.
Yeah,
you gotta go.
We've got to wrap up.
Oh man, you're terrific. How do people find you?
You can call me if you'd like, 317-362-6528 to schedule an appointment.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Will you say that again for me, Terry? I didn't write it down.
I didn't write it down either.
Say it again, Staci.
317-362-6528.
Thank you. As we close the show today, we just want to remind listeners that that you can contact Tina McIntosh for more information and resources to help you through your caregiving journey. You can reach her at tina@joyshouse.org, or you can always call us at 317-254-0828. And as always, Caregiver Crossing is sponsored by Cardon and Associates, with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest, and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. That's it for us this week on Caregiver Crossing. Until next time, take good care of each other.